In this video I want to talk to you guys about running and losing muscle mass, if that's true or if that's a myth. It's very common for people to, want to run to, improve their health, their fitness, and to help them, either shed fat, but they're scared about losing muscle mass or muscle tone in the process. The first question is, does running in like excess, so a handful of miles, a day or a couple times a week, does that help you or hinder you from building muscle? And the answer is it kind of depends. Really what running does, the health benefits of running is, improves cardiovascular fitness, improves bone density, it also improves joint health, because it improves bone density and joint health because the impact of running, that like impact and that tension essentially on your joints, on your bones over time is going to build kind of new muscle, very much so like strength training would tear muscle down and build up muscle fiber. It's the same kind of concept with running, so that's why it's good for your joints and your bones if you're capable of it. Obviously, if I start to run, my ankles might hurt, my knees might hurt, my hips might be a little sore, but it's the same kind of concept that you would get from weight training as well. Running also burns calories, so if I run more, if I do more cardio, it also burns extra calories kind of on top of that. So given all the benefits that I just named of, improving cardiovascular health and these bone density and joint health, and it helps you burn kind of extra calories, I would say that that's not a negative thing at all. The caveat to that is how much and how far are you running in addition to your weight training program. So really it all comes down to your diet and your lifestyle. So let's say, for example, I figure out that, in order for me to be in a slight surplus enough to where I'm not going to gain fat, but I'm going to help me kind of stay lean, it's going to help me build muscle. Let's say that that's like 2,200 calories to maintain and build muscle, right? If I do if I'm doing any kind of like additional exercise or additional running, this could be extra cardio sessions, this could be running, this could really be anything, but we're talking about running. If I'm doing anything in addition, I'm going to burn extra calories that I'm taking away from my weekly allowance. That's going to put me in that slight surplus to then build muscle, right? You just have to keep that in mind. So instead of maybe having a 2,200 calorie goal, you might have to have a 23 or a 24 or even a 2,500 calorie goal in order to maintain muscle and also build muscle. So the answer, or the question, I guess, of does running lose muscle, or does that hinder me from building muscle? Am I going to burn muscle, which obviously you don't want to do? Am I going to burn muscle if I'm running? And the answer is it depends. If you want to run, if you like to run, there's a lot of health benefits to running. If you are able, if you don't have a major surgery or a knee or hip replacement, or you are able to run, I would say running is a great thing, especially for overall health and the things that I mentioned here. Now, if I am running, I just have to be conscious of, even if I'm in a fat loss phase, you don't want to undercut your calories so much that you accelerate that fat loss. And then I've mentioned this in other videos about then damaging metabolism to the point where that fat loss phase isn't long, prosperous, and maintainable. So even if I'm in a fat loss phase, or if I'm trying to build muscle, whatever it is, you have to be conscious of the extra calories that you're burning, so that way you can maybe eat a little bit more, again, whether I'm in a build phase or a fat loss phase, to make up for that, to get the health benefits of running. It could even help me a little bit along the way, but you have to do it in a kind of controlled way that's going to help you along your journey, not hinder you. So another thing to keep in mind, that if I want to add running to my fitness routine, whether I'm trying to gain muscle or shed fat or maintain whatever it is, that there are a couple ways that you can have a net negative calorie day, go into a calorie deficit. So I can enter into a calorie deficit by cutting my calories, the calories that I consume, or I can increase my activity level, right? It's okay to do both, but it can be dangerous, because when I decrease my calories, I'm naturally decreasing metabolism, which is I've talked about in other videos. So if I'm cutting my calories, then I'm also adding additional running. Now, instead of adding one stressor onto the body, I've now added two stressors onto the body. So if I'm going to add running into my daily routine because I like it, it helps me feel good, I have the time for it, whatever it is, right? You might not necessarily want to cut calories if you're trying to shed fat. You just have to be careful of that. You might want to add 1 day of running in a week, which could burn, 3, 4, 500 calories. You wouldn't want to decrease your calories because that's going to put you into even more of a deficit, which could damage your metabolism along the way. So you kind of have to keep in mind that the amount of calories that I'm eating with my daily diet, and then if I'm adding in extra activity, running, extra workout, whatever it is, I want to make sure that I don't double down on that negative, because that's now 2 negatives on your overall body. And the reason that that's important, because you want to have a nice, healthy, long life with little stress, right? But you also want to look good and feel good. So you can attain that without adding extra stressors onto your body by having a nice, long, prosperous fat loss phase. And again, it doesn't have to be losing, fat. You could want to run to help, just maintain the physique, that you have. But you also have to keep in mind that any kind of physical activity, running, weight training, those are negative things on the body. Those are stressors on the body. So you have to make sure that we're not doubling that by adding in now cutting calories and then also adding in running, which is also an additional stressor on the body. So given all of that, it's very common for people to either believe, or the reason that people say that running does burn muscle is because of the extra calories that it can burn. And if those aren't replenished, that could cause you to lose muscle mass, especially if you're doing that without eating enough protein to make up for that extra calorie burn.